Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at this knockoff Toybiz Sentinel. These things are made somewhere in Mexico. I don't know exactly who's pumping these things out, or maybe it's several people. I'm not sure. But this is a clone, a molded copy of a Toybiz Build-A-Figure Sentinel from way back in the day. And I've been wanting to pick one of these up for a while just because I don't have the original Toybiz Sentinel. They're kind of expensive and just, they're cool. I want one, but you know, haven't wanted to drop 200 bucks on one, which is kind of the going rate now on prices for those things, just because of the fact that when the new Sentinel came out, the HasLab, that kind of drove the prices up for the older one because of the fact that a lot of people didn't want to spend $500 or more on the HasLab. So they thought, well, this is a good alternative, and it really is. I mean, you used to could pick these guys up, well, not this one, but obviously the original. You used to could pick them up for maybe 125 bucks. But once it started gaining more traction and getting more demand since that HasLab came out, they now go for around 200, sometimes even more than that. I'm not going to spend that much money. And so picking one of these up is something I've been wanting to do for a while, but I didn't know where to get them. I would occasionally see them online on Facebook for sale, things like that, but people were asking 100 bucks for just these. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to spend 100 bucks on a knockoff. So I actually went to my local comic and toy shop, Quinn's Comics, and give them a little shout out there. And he had one. For those that don't know, I actually live in a border town in Texas, and he had a customer that came in and had one and traded it off to him. And I happened to walk in the store before he had even put it out for sale, and said, "Hey, what's that?" And I thought he just got it for himself. And he's like, "Oh, are you interested in it?" After I was looking at it, and I was like, "Well, yeah. How much do you want for it?" Quinn's a good guy, and so I won't go into details there, but needless to say, he sold it to me for what he had into it, which was not a lot of money, okay? It certainly was not $100, not even close. So I got a pretty good deal on this guy, and I just kind of wanted to show you what these Mexican knockoff Sentinels are really like. Now, these things I see come sometimes not painted at all, sometimes painted up in different colors. This one, somebody went through and took the time to paint up in this kind of burnt orange color here, which I actually kind of like. The paint job is not great. I mean, there's plenty of places on here where there's all kinds of little dings and just paint missing and things like that all over this thing. Look here on the leg, that kind of stuff. So it's not a perfect paint job, and I will more than likely be repainting this. In fact, you can see here we've got some of the red kind of over here where it's not supposed to be, and whoever painted this didn't do a great job. But I mean, all in all, it looks pretty good, but not great. So I will probably be repainting this at some point, but it's less about the paint, because that's something you can take care of on your own if you pick one of these up. I wanted to show you what this thing is actually like. Now, first up, this thing is 16 inches tall, which is why I had to pull my camera back so far away, just so you could kind of see it all and get it in frame. It's huge, okay? Now, it also does lack in articulation compared to the Toybiz version. First off, it only has single jointed elbows that only come up to about right there. Okay, so you can get the hand up if you want to do that, but that's it. Single jointed elbows is all you get with this, and then there's only rotation on the shoulders there. Okay, you do get swivel on the head, okay, and you do get swivel in the upper torso right there, and then you do get back and forth on the legs that actually come up to there, and then go back really only to about right there. And then you do get single jointed knees that go to about right there, and that's it, okay? So there's not a lot of articulation on this guy. Oh yes, you do also get wrist rotation as well. So not a lot of articulation on this guy, but as a Sentinel that's mostly just going to be standing there, that's more than enough articulation for me personally. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, it's more than enough. I mean, I'm just gonna have him standing there, maybe like doing this or something, you know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna be that big a deal. By the way, these do obviously come off, okay? So all in all, pretty good as far as, basic articulation, especially for the price. you know, I certainly wouldn't have paid $100 for him, but I would say at $50 or less, this is still a really good deal. Now, I didn't even pay 50 bucks for him because my guy Quinn hooked me up, but for the mold itself, it's actually done really well. And of course, somebody had to go in and mold this thing because, you know, the original Sentinel didn't come with all this battle damage on it. This one did, and I think they actually did a really good job there with the battle damage. If you actually look at the side of the head and the chest there, and the hole in the back, you know, we've got the damage to the leg here. Really, really nice. Like good detail work there. You got the leg busted up over here, torn up there on the bicep right there. It's a really good mold for what it is. Now, it's not perfect, but I've seen molds done way worse than this before. The fact that you can still see all the details in here, you know, and really just kind of everywhere on the legs, back of the knees, at the back there, in addition to the new detail that's been added with the battle damage. I mean, somebody did a pretty good job. Again, forgive the paint work because I don't know who painted this thing. Originally, it is black, as you can see here by the bottoms of the feet. It's just molded in black plastic. But the work as far as the sculpt itself is done really, really well. This thing is also very heavy because it's molded. It's not hollow. You do have some hollow parts in here. You can see in the feet, but the thighs, the chest, most of the upper torso, head, arms, those are all solid, and it adds a lot of weight, which I actually like. This thing weighs. It's hard to tell for sure. It's been a while since I picked up an original Toybiz Sentinel, but it feels like it weighs at least half as much again, if not almost twice as much as an actual Sentinel, which actually gives it a lot of stability to stand up. It's very, very solid. So again, lack of articulation, but the sculpt is really good. Obviously, the paint work is something you would probably have to take care of yourself. You know, or you might end up with something like this with paint splotches and all kinds of other stuff on it. Although I will say I do like the color scheme, the red with the black and the lighter silver and the darker silver and the little bits of gold everywhere. I might try and mimic this paint scheme when I repaint it, just to keep it, because I do kind of like that. It reminds me of the old X-Men animated arcade game back in the day in the early 90s, where you had all the different colored Sentinels that represented different power levels. It kind of looks like that. So I do like the color scheme, even if the paint job wasn't that great. But honestly, for, you know, what these things cost, and again, I do see people trying to get $100 for these, but I know a lot of people that have been able to pick these up for far less than that, usually $50 or less. And there are some places you can order them online. I don't know where any of these places are, otherwise I would have had one before this. But certainly for $50 or less, this is a great piece to add to your collection. I mean, this is going to look, I mean, just as I leave it like this, it's going to look amazing on my X-Men shelf. But certainly, you know, once I've repainted it and kind of, you know, done a little bit better job than what we have here, it's going to look absolutely amazing when it comes down to that. Now, one thing I will say, when I first got this thing, first off, these had lots and lots of mold lines all around the edges that I had to shave off. And then the peg that goes into the hand, I had to shave down. The peg was too big, it wouldn't fit into the hand when I first got it. And then when I first got it, also this arm, the peg wouldn't pop in all the way at the elbow, since it is just a single joint, it just pops in from the outside. And I shaved that down and got it to the right size to where it pops in, and it's really, really secure now. So when I first got it, this arm wasn't even on it, which I wasn't too worried about, but I managed to kind of tweak it a little bit to get it to fit on there properly. So, I mean, if you order one, you might end up having to tweak it just a little bit. But again, for what it is and for what you can pick these things up for, I mean, that's really good. I mean, again, just the sculpt alone is done very, very well. And yeah, lacking articulation and sloppy paint and everything else, but there is definitely something great and salvageable under here. Especially, like I said, if you can get it for $50 or less. So I just wanted to show you guys that, because I know a lot of people have been talking about them and asking about them and how do they hold up. I wish I had a real Toybiz Sentinel to compare to, but again, those are too expensive, so I don't have one. But for my money, for what I paid for this thing, or even at $50, this is absolutely something I would jump on. And so if you have a way to get a hold of one of these, if you have a way to search these out, I'd absolutely recommend it, because even if you do already have a Toybiz, you know, Sentinel, looking nice, painted great, old school Toybiz, all the details and everything, this would be a great add-on to that collection. And at 50 bucks a piece or less, where for the price of a Toybiz Sentinel you could get 4 of these, I mean, that's a great, you know, addition to an X-Men display to have, you know, 4 of these guys standing in the background instead of just one. I mean, that's pretty damn cool. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. Let me know in the comment section what you think about it. Do you like these things? Do you have one? If you do, what do you think? And how did yours come? Because I'm not even sure that there's only one person making these in Mexico. It might be several people. I don't know. And I don't know if there's any differences. I mean, I've seen the ones that are battle damaged and the ones that aren't. This one is obviously battle damaged, which I actually really, really like. And so I'm curious what you think if you've got one of these. Let me know in the comment section down below. But that is it, guys. Thank you for watching. Always remember, guys, to enjoy your collection.